Okay, so this is some Infinity Wars PvP. It's just a quick showcase of my deck and what my general thoughts are when I play around. I'm using a pretty generic sleeper deck. It's based around having a lot of endless hordes in your deck, constantly having them in and out of battle and then powering up. For my commanders, I use 3 Zombie Scavengers because the idea is that while your endless horde are dying, throughout the entire game they're constantly powering up your Zombie Scavengers. And then, regardless of if they're ready or not, you always have a quick and easy method of defense. So right now, I'm just trying to stalemate his little demon card. I throw out one of my Zombie Scavengers early. I'm not sure why I did this. It wasn't a very good idea. I do get, 2 points of damage off, and they do get powered up, but I didn't really think it through. I just kind of wanted to match him in terms of numbers of enemies. Here, I make a really big mistake. I throw out my other Zombie Scavenger, so now I've got both of them, both low powered, and I didn't think he'd be throwing out this card, and this card is just going to destroy both of my guys. Did not think this through, and it really did screw me kind of, because I lost 2/3 of my major power throughout the entire beginning of the game. So right now I'm just trying to form a defensive line. I don't really have a whole lot of stuff I can use at once, while he's probably going to be piling on all these demon cards he has. So right now I'm just trying to match him in terms of numbers. He did knock out my guy, but it's it's an endless horde, so I kind of expect him to. I throw out my Boomy because I'm expecting him to throw out all these little low HP cards, and then Boomy will just take care of it. Boomy, when it dies, it hits everything in that zone for 6 damage. All of his guys have less than 6 health. But then he does this. I've actually never really seen this card, and he just powers the hell out of it, and that thing completely survives my Boomy, and it hits me for 12, which early game is kind of a lot. But it's nothing that I can't recover from. So I throw it on my location. This location, what it does is that every time an enemy monster dies, it'll spawn a zombie on my side of the map. So I decided to throw out my last Zombie Scavenger, try to throw up a defensive line, and at the same time consistently deal damage to his fortress. I forgot to edit this out, but it takes a really long time for him to plan his move. Right now I'm just looking at what I got versus what he has. Of course he's going to power up his Agent Coil again, so that thing is once again going to kill my Endless Horde, but now all my other Endless Hordes get a little power boost. Now I throw out Aletta just for the sake of having a defensive line, and I throw out my other Endless Horde so I can use him for my next offensive line. I'm just looking at what cards he has right now. That thing is not a big threat, but it does kind of, it does have a high attack, so it could pretty much sweep anything, even Aletta almost. So I did take a pretty nasty hit to my fortress, but at the same time I have my 18/18 Zombie Scavenger hitting his fortress clean, because he has not been putting up any kind of defensive line this entire game. So now that he has a bunch of low-level enemies again, I'm going to try the Boomy strategy again, try to blow out his entire line. The reason I put Boomy before Aletta is because even though Aletta is going to get hit by Boomy's effect, she'll still have enough health to be able to survive any of their attacks. And then I just decided to throw my other Endless Horde for the sake of throwing him out and having a good defensive line. My Zombie Scavenger in the attack zone is going to get blocked, but once again, it's not a big deal. I have to discard a random card, and I lost my Raise Dead, which is actually kind of suck, because that is a pretty good card. Now I'm just throwing out whatever Endless Hordes I have. I was considering using Aletta's effect to spawn another zombie, but in the end I decided it wasn't worth it. There wasn't really any point. She was more useful to have, to just have as a defensive line. So I throw back out my zombie, draw a card just to try to use up all my resources. You always want to use all of your resources every round, or at least use as many resources as you can without being stupid about it. He throws out a card that messes up my defensive lines and offensive lines a bit, but nothing that really hurt. He did just kind of screw himself though. He used that card that hit everything for 5. He only killed one of my guys, but he wiped out pretty much every live monster he had. So at this point I knew it was going to be game over. I'm just completely going into dick mode and throwing out my entire offensive line, just drawing cards and doing stupid stuff. I don't even know why I'm doing this, but I knew it was going to be GG, so I just kind of threw out my last bits of stuff and wiped out whatever defensive line he had. Honestly, I thought he should have played the rest of those cards. If he had played the rest of those cards, he would have gotten at least one more turn and one more turn to do something, but he didn't, and that's the end of the game. So yeah, always tell your opponent GG, and that's how my sleeper deck works. It's a pretty basic deck. I don't have too many rare cards for it or anything. Most of them are just beginner cards anyways, the non-tradable ones you get. So yeah, that's it.